who it is. Looks like a fresh out of the oven pleberoni pizza. A pleberoni pizza. What do you mean you failed? You clicked? What the fuck? How dare you click? Do not click. You had one job. You had one task. Do not click. You guys like my loud shirt today? You guys enjoy that? What do you think of that? My loud shirt. Hell to the fuck yeah. Summer's here. It is going to be where I am in the triple digits tomorrow. I'm not ready for that shit, but here it is. It's upon us. The triple digits have come. I click. You like loud shirts? Me too. Yeah, the 100s have come to California. Good old hundreds. Yep. To be honest with you, I can't really bitch about it because where I'm at, the general area I'm at usually has its first triple digit day like almost a month ago. Like May is usually when you see your first triple digit day here, like mid-May, maybe even early May in some cases. So the fact that it waited until actual June to trip digit, that's pretty good. See, man, if you grew up in it, like, look at me. I'm a big, fat, hairy, sweaty guy. If I could fucking survive trip digits, so can you. Oh, yeah. You get humidity involved. See, this is why I'll never complain about living where I live ever again. I grew up in this, and especially towards the latter part of my life that I lived here, or at least in this area. I fucking used to complain about how hot it was all the time, and then I moved to the south, where it doesn't get triple digits all that often, but it may as well be because it's 70 degrees outside with a or 75 degrees outside with a 90-degree dew point or some shit, and you're just like, I'm telling you, like, you get over 100 and it is what it is, man. It's just warm. Yeah, I'll never bitch again about heat. Like, people just don't know. Like, now I know. I've lived in some of the hottest places in America, maybe the hottest place in America. Phoenix, Arizona, on the average, has got to be one of the hottest places in America. Lived there for 2 years. I grew up in the Central Valley of California, where hundreds are, a 3-month affair during summer. And I'm telling you, man, never, ever, ever. What brand of cigarettes do you smoke? Bubblicious grape vape cigarettes, dude. But yeah, I'll never fucking complain about heat again. Humidity, Louisiana in general, fuck it all. Could I do a sponsor for it? I don't know, could I? I suppose I could. Got a nice quiet night out here tonight. Well, the parties happened last night. Yeah, no bumpins tonight. Yeah, last night was nuts. It was fun times. Had a banging DJ last night. Hey DJ, that's my DJ. Yeah, no DJ tonight. That's okay. I don't know what biomutant is. What would be more fun if you were there though? What? Huh? Hey. Getting my first PC soon, entry level, planning on getting StarCraft 2. Any game recommendations? I don't know what kind of games you like to play. It's just hard to recommend a game to somebody you don't know anything about, you know? Right now I'm playing Crusader Kings 3. That's a lot of fun. Don't know if that's your speed of game, though. Yeah, Loop Hero's pretty fun. I like that game. RPG and RTS. I don't know. Like, real-time strategy games are pretty much dead, unfortunately. I haven't seen like a new franchise of RTS in a long time. I don't know. Yeah, Skyrim, the Fallout series. Good points. Yeah, I'm not good at game recommendations. I know what I like to play, but like recommending shit to other people is not my bag. Stellaris. Checked out Crusader Kings 3 gameplay. It looks way too big brain for me. Thanks for the recommendation anyways. It is what it is. It really isn't all that big brain. Like, Crusader Kings 2 was more big brain because it didn't hold your hand as much. Crusader Kings 3 is like simplified some of the gameplay and added a ton of fucking like tooltips and shit. So, I don't know. I think Crusader Kings 3 looks a lot more complex than it really is. But to each his own. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm having a decent night. I don't think it's any more big brain than Civ 6. I just think it's definitely a different game than Civ 6, but it's, you know, it's got its own thing. Endless space. Yeah. Let's not go down the road of endless fucking video game recommendations, okay? I can't just sit here and read video game names all night and go, yeah. 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 Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that. Let's talk about farts, baby. Let's talk about you and me. do you think balls deep went last night? I think the only thing balls deep was me. I think I was balls deep in about 4 joints worth of weed. Did you have a good day, Paul? Yeah, it was okay. I had to work today because of the memorial service I went to yesterday. We moved our last work day of the week till today, so tomorrow I'll have off, which is nice. I'm thinking I'm gonna maybe make the little trip and go see my mom tomorrow. I think that's the plan anyway. Which means I get to swim. I'm gonna need it. It's gonna be 106 fucking degrees. Throw me in the pool. I finally got my pool, yeah. Only took me 41 years. No, I still don't have a pool. Thoughts on AOC and the crew? Based. 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 Can you say based? Based. The squad is based. I see you diving in and out of the water as graceful as a dolphin. The hair flick too to cap it off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'd be going on Vaush's show soon. I don't know. Dude hasn't hit me back. Dude hit me up, I think it was like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago, and said, "Hey man, what's your availability generally?" And I was like, I gave him my availability generally. And then I haven't heard back. So. It's not rude. He's not being rude. He's like, both of us are horrible at DMs. So the last time I went on Vaush's show, it took me a month and a half of back and forth waiting for us to DM each other to get on it. So, yeah, no, he's not being rude. Like, he's fully copped to the neither one of us do DMs, it's cool, no rush kind of thing. Probably wants to rip me a new one. Well, bring it. Let him rip me one. I want to be ripped a new one. Let's do it. He wants to rip me an old one? Damn. I've never been ripped an old one. I've been ripped a new one a couple times in my life, but I've never been ripped an old one. I don't care what you guys do. I mean, you guys, in terms of being fans of mine, if you want me on shows, you have more power to do that than I do. Unless it's somebody that I can fucking have some kind of back channel communication with because TJ knows them or some shit. Like, you guys have got a way better chance of getting me on shows than I do. So yeah, I don't give a fuck what you do. Love your streams and content. Thank you for grinding. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Yes, sir. We must defend Biden's honor. Love your suit. Did you ever go on Kyle and Crystal's show? Man, I would feel like a fish out of water on that show. Holy fuck, would I feel like a fish out of water. Look at me, and then look at that clean cut ass fucking news looking set they got over there on Crystal and Kyle and Friends. Dude, I'd feel like I was stinking the place up. Just, you know what I mean? Look at me. And this is how I would dress too. I don't fucking dress up for shit. I dressed up for my wedding, okay? And that involved putting on a button up shirt and some slacks. Oh, I don't doubt I could hold my own. I've talked with Kyle Kalinske before. He and I get along well, but like, are they ready to have like a dude that's stoned out of his mind come on? Like, are they prepared for that on Crystal, Kyle, and Friends? I don't know. Oh no, dude, Vaush is at least 3 or 4 degrees more clean cut than I am. Dude's got the groomed hair and the fucking considered fucking, wardrobe and shit. No, no, man. I'm the dirt bag left made flesh, and he's a pretender to the dirt bag left. He wears the same 3 shirts every day. Yeah, so do I. So I agree. Yeah, I think Kyle and I have more in common ideologically than Vaush and I do. I agree with that assessment. Although, it's been a while since I've talked to either of them, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But from what I think I know about their positions, I would say that Kyle and I are closer than Vaush and I in terms of ideology. Yeah, Kyle's a good guy. Uh, I've gotten to talk to Kyle twice. One was when I first came on DP. He was actually the dude. He was present for the first time I told the Pylon Idol Sis story on DP. I was still just like a guest, and that was the first time I met Kyle. And then the second time was I was living in Washington, and we had him on as a guest on DP, and that was good. I felt like we had pretty good chemistry there. I don't know how agreeable I am with Vaush, dude. This kink at Pride thing was kind of mask off for me because I think a lot of people think like it's not important, but it's incredibly important to me. Not necessarily the different levels of kink that are at Pride, but the idea that the left should not be parroting right-wing talking points about Pride. And the left should not be looking to police the individuality and self-expression that's present at Pride, which is the point of Pride. Love you, Paul. Buy a pack on me. Hey, thank you. I mean, I don't know, dude. There's been a lot of like angstiness. Not angstiness, but just like, TJ and I have butted heads over this electoralism issue so many times now that I just feel like not that I don't want to have the conversation with him anymore, but that I'm really gonna have to try a new tact with him next time to see if we can dig into something different. Because I feel like we just don't agree. And I think I'm right, obviously. He thinks he's right. I don't think either one of us really necessarily needs to change their mind. But I do find a lot of the differences between us to be important. like politically. Well, I mean, there's a bound of respectability at most prides, but Folsom Pride is not that. Like, if you go to Folsom Pride, which is right down, where the original fucking Pride demonstrations were, right in the Bay Area there. If you go to Folsom Pride, it is people will butt fuck right in the street. People will blow each other right in the fucking street. It just is what it is, bro. And see, I don't think that needs to be changed. You just keep your kids away from Folsom Pride. It's not for them. It's not meant for them. And that's the worst of the prides, is Folsom Pride. Most other prides have, dudes and assless chaps, some leather daddies, some BDSM dudes, some banana hammock guys, some booty short guys, some drag queens, and some chicks with, like Band-Aids on their nipples and shit. I mean, it's... See, I don't go that far. I don't think all prides have to be what Folsom Pride is. But by the same token, I don't think it's anybody's job to go to Folsom Pride and be like, we got to clean this up and put a Ferris wheel up here. It's like, no. The spirit of the Pride protest is we're here, we're queer, get used to it. And how a queer person chooses to participate in the Pride festivities is up to that person, and it's up to the fucking event. It is not up to fucking people from outside the event with seemingly very little knowledge of the history of queer acceptance in this country. It's not. It just that irks, and so I really don't know how close Vaush and I are ideologically. If he's going to take the stand that as a dude that I think Vaush's point is that queer children are still under the control of their parents and need pride more than adults too. And that pride after parties and clubs events still exist. Yeah, no, I don't deny that at all. But if a pride parade wants to be a semi-raunchy affair, and then the after party wants to be a semi-raunchy affair, that means you don't take your kid to it. Like a lot people saying that queer kids have nowhere to go don't know that there are tons. Pride is a month. Next month is Pride Month. There are tons of events that are family-friendly, kid-friendly, queer kid-centric events. The main Pride demonstration is not that, and never has been that, never set out to be that. Dude, yeah, Brokeback Mountain is amazing. I don't know if it's my absolute favorite LGBTQ film, but goddamn, that film is beautiful to watch. Beautifully shot. Yep. The nature of pride is subject to change, just like any socio-political movement. I don't think we can get too upset if it becomes more... Well, here's the problem, though. Here's the problem, okay? And this is something that I didn't bring up with Jamie, because it just never went there. Pride has already been sanitized to an extent. Pride is already, like, main pride parades in places like Seattle and LA, they've already been co-opted by corporate interests. You'll have a fucking T-Mobile float with a gay pride flag on the side of it floating down the fucking street. You know what I mean? You've got fucking Starbucks showing up in support. You got this, so it's already corporatized in a lot of the big cities, which means sanitized, right? These are places where tons of people already bring their kids and don't have a problem with leather daddies running up and down the street. And if they do, they leave. You know what I mean? I gave an example of a quick dialogue with a child on my fucking Twitter to prove a point. It was just like, what's that man wearing? It's like, I don't know, honey. Look, everybody's dressed just how I wanted to dress today. Look how look how pretty these ladies are. Look at the drag queens. How hard? And if your kid is fucking like 14 or 15, you probably don't need to fill in the blanks with them. It's probably not the first pair of butt cheeks they've seen, all right? I don't understand where this moral panic comes from. It's like leftists have forgotten that gay ain't catching. Gay just ain't catching. Nambly used to march at Pride. Yeah. The scene where Heath Ledger is literally holding his eye to stop tears from coming out. Yeah. Now that movie's really fucking great. I pay you boys to come up here and watch the sheep. I ain't paying you to stem the rose. Fucking Randy Quaid. Stem the rose, dude. Yep. Agreed, yeah. The movie is an examination. Like, I really loved that movie because it was an examination. It showed me, and it wasn't like I didn't know it at the time that this movie came out, but it showed me, remember, I was closeted at the time this movie came out. And it showed me an example of men that were not stereotypically homosexual, but still, you know what I mean? Because like a lot of the portrayals of gay men in media at that time and still are portrayals of gay men who are effeminate in some way, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but like to see a positive portrayal of a gay relationship in which the men are not, the men remain masculine while being gay was interesting. Yeah, freaked. I pay you boys to watch the sheep. I ain't paying you to lay up there and stem the rose. Now get the fuck out. Very pretty soundtrack to that movie too. Who fucking I'm trying to remember the name of the director of that film. I know it's not John Woo. Who the fuck was it? I believe it's an Asian guy, and I'm a fucking racist, so all I can think of is John Woo. Ang Lee, thank you. Yeah, I don't remember either of the dudes in Brokeback Mountain pulling out double pistols and diving over a bar. It's like, it definitely wasn't a John Woo film. Bum 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 bum. Beautiful, beautiful soundtrack to that film, and beautiful like documentary level shots of the mountains and the plains. Oh my God, there's this scene in the movie where Heath Ledger is at a 4th of July event with his family, and there's a couple of nasty fucking bikers behind him. He's got his girls there, and they're, you know, talking all dirty. And, you know, he asks them nicely a couple of times, like, hey, man, I got my little girls here. Could you, you know, and they just keep on going. They tell him to go fuck himself or whatever. And there's this fucking amazing shot where he stands up, kicks this fucking dude's ass that's talking shit to him, and the fucking fireworks are going off behind him and shit. It's like a hero shot almost, but it's just like, oh man, dude. It's just like, whoa. That fucking movie, dude. I gotta watch that movie again. It's been probably a year and a half since I watched Brokeback. Favorite Tarantino film is Reservoir Dogs. We've gone over it, Bo. My friend's last name is Wong. When I first went to her house, I stopped in the doorway and said, oh shit, I'm in the Wong house, and nobody clapped. Yeah, I doubt they did. I had a friend in high school whose last name was Wong. I've disobeyed and found myself here. Have you? You're not going to be here for much longer if you don't start making sense. After Brokeback, were you convinced Heath Ledger was going to be a great Joker, or were you still skeptical? See, you got to understand, like, at this point, I wasn't following the Batman movies to the point of, like, super fanboy. I'd seen Batman Begins, and so I know I was interested, and what little bit I had seen of Heath Ledger as the Joker looked really compelling. I remember the little teaser trailers and shit, but I don't know. I don't remember having to take one way or the other. The Dark Knight was really kind of a delightful movie for me because I went in not really knowing what to expect. You know, I know a lot of fanboys and shit had probably read a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and you know, I knew nothing going in, so it was pretty cool to watch the movie unfold. But I don't remember having trepidation about Heath Ledger as the Joker. Do 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 do. Heath Ledger just a guy with spikes. We put so much pressure on our entertainers, and we don't understand that a lot of what makes a lot, not every, but a lot of entertainers, a lot of what makes them good is their pain. Right? Heath Ledger was a guy who was incredibly talented, but also carried around a lot of fucking pain with him. Clearly, self-medicated a lot of fucking pain. Chadwick Boseman, yeah. And we put a lot of expectation on our entertainers, don't we? Like the cult of celebrity in this country dictates that entertainers have to conduct themselves in a certain way. They're not allowed to have the problems that we all have because, of course, they're supposed to be better. They've got money and we don't. You want to know who Heath Ledger reminds me of, honestly, in terms of career arc and like just the immense possibility that was there? River Phoenix. He was the Heath Ledger of my generation. Just a dude that had just this radiant fucking talent, absolutely amazing talent since he was a kid. He's like 11 years old in Stand By Me and gives a performance that puts a lot of adults in Hollywood to shame. You watch that movie Stand By Me. Same thing goes for fucking what's his name? Will Wheaton too as a kid. That movie was fucking amazing, but River Phoenix in that movie just absolutely stunning. Winked out like a light. If River Phoenix was alive today, he'd be like this generation's Paul Newman. He'd be pushing his 50s now, 55, something like that. He'd be like gray foxed out. He'd be like this generation's Paul Newman. They get none of him. I think Phoenix's Joker is a more interesting character, but Ledger's Joker is a better villain. Well, neither one of them would have fit well in each other's films. They're two completely different Jokers, right? They have some similarities, but they're two completely different Jokers. River Phoenix's Joker is a sympathetic Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker is a menacing, otherworldly madman presence, right? Something that's from outside of humanity, almost. Represents the darkest parts of humanity. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, I said River Phoenix because I was thinking about his brother earlier. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, you know, is a far more sympathetic character. We're meant to sympathize with why he goes off the fucking deep end. Heath Ledger's Joker, not really. It's very lightly touched upon in the movie. What's so sad about Heath Ledger is that he was in the middle of a transition period from teen heartthrob to character actor. Oh yeah. Well, that's almost the same truth for River Phoenix. Like River Phoenix was, just coming into this kind of like teen beat kind of heartthrob role. But if you look at the balance of his work, the dude was so fucking talented. And he was just starting to come to his own as an actor, just starting to hit that stride as a young man and an actor, and died, overdosed. And that's Joaquin's brother. So just imagine like Joaquin Phoenix's older brother being around. Because he would be. They both create ambiguity for the character. Heath's Joker is ambiguous because they know nothing about him or his intent. Joaquin's Joker's ambiguous because he has a warped sense of reality, right? It's like personalized ambiguity versus alien ambiguity. Heath Ledger's Joker is almost an alien in the Dark Knight films. It's like he descended from chaos. And then, of course, because Joker follows Joaquin's character Arthur Fleck as he becomes the Joker, we get what we're not given in the Dark Knight, a justification. We're given a very brief justification in the Dark Knight of abuse when he talks about how he got his scars. So you can tell that somebody abused him. But that's all you get. You get a little wink of that in the Dark Knight. Did I ever tell you the story of how I got these scars? Ledger is more the archetypal Joker. Phoenix's Joker is more an original character. I don't agree with Ledger's Joker being archetypical at all. In fact, I think that he broke the mold of the Joker. Hey, baby. The Joker, if you are familiar with the Joker from the comics or, like the 90s Batman TV series or his portrayal in various fucking properties and shit, is a sick combination of joviality and utter psychopathy, right? He's like, that's the whole point. Heath Ledger's Joker was only a shade of that, like just a bare little shade of that humor was in that character. And it was, I feel like he was stepped outside of it very differently. And I think that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker does the same thing. It takes a character that is, seen as whimsical and removes the whimsy almost, or darkens the whimsy. But I don't agree at all that Heath Ledger's Joker is archetypal. Or archetypical. It's archetypal. Archetypal. I suppose, relatively speaking, Phoenix is probably a more significant departure. Well, anything that gives us a look at the Joker's past is a significant departure, because that's one thing that remains relatively unique among the Jokers, with the exception of Jack Nicholson's Joker, for which they invented a whole origin story. So Cesar Romero really set the standard. Well, yeah, but you go look at Romero's Joker and he is just totally just goofy, right? He's evil, but he's constantly amused by everything. Giggly, goofy presence, right? He's funny too. He's funny in a gritty way. You're talking about Ledger's Joker. There are some moments in every good action film has good tagline moments. So, if anything, what's brilliant about Heath Ledger's Joker is that all of that whimsy is transferred into violence. Like the famous scene where he makes the pencil disappear. Like, that's funny, but not really. You know what I mean? It's pretty dark and then funny. It's more disturbing than funny, right? And so it's like he has a sense of humor in the film, but we're almost not privy to it because he's so overly violent. His sense of humor plays out in such a dehumanizing way that we can't really laugh at it, And if we do, it's more of like a, oh, god damn. Well, yeah, a lot of people don't like to talk about that, but if you really look at the movie Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker may not have experienced any of the shit that we saw in the movie. We are given a dose, or we're given a look into his mind that shows us that he routinely experiences things that don't happen. The whole girlfriend arc is there for that. He imagines this entire organic relationship with this woman and experiences it, where he meets her in a very kind of normal and sheepish way and they get together, and it never happened. And the final scene of the movie, we see Arthur Fleck running out of a mental hospital with a trail of blood behind him? Was he put there after this implausibly Machiavellian scheme worked out exactly as he didn't plan? Or was he in there all along imagining these things, right? People hate that type of shit because they don't want to think, oh, the movie wasn't real. Well, the movie was real for Arthur Fleck. That's what we know. That's all we know. What happened was real for him. But whether it is real for us or anybody else that's implied to be living in Gotham is up to the interpretation of the viewer. I think it's more than implied that Arthur Fleck is... Because think about it. Dude finds out that he's connected to the mayor, that the mayor raped his mother, that, you know, all this shit, right? He just happens to be this guy that's down and out, that happens to be connected to the highest person in Gotham, happens to experience persecution and then acceptance via some crazy expression of his individuality that is completely against his character. Routinely, you know, fantasizes about things that aren't happening, but are presented as if they are happening to us in the audience. So whether or not Arthur Fleck, maybe the only look at Arthur Fleck in the real world that we get is at the end of the film as he's fucking escaping the mental asylum with a trail of blood behind him. I don't know that Parasite was necessarily a much superior film to Joker. I saw both of those movies. I thought they're number one, they're both completely different films. I will tell you that Parasite managed so much tonal shift that the Joker didn't manage, that I believe that Parasite should have won Best Picture that year over Joker. But that's just my personal experience. That's my personal feeling on it. I've never seen a movie like Parasite before. It so manages to do something that in other movies makes the movie bad. Completely explore the range of tone in films. It's a comedy, it's a family drama, it's a horror film, it's a psychological thriller, and it's like a fucking gore film.
Like an action movie.
Like an action movie, all wrapped into one movie, and it all works. And how do you fucking do that? Who does that? What other movie has done that? I agree. Phoenix probably deserved Best Actor. Shutter Island, no. I mean, Shutter Island is a good flick, but let's be real here. It's not that tonal shift film. It doesn't start as a comedy. It starts with this heavy, oppressive, ominous atmosphere that never lets up throughout the film, which is fine. It's great. It's a good movie. A Clockwork Orange has whimsy and violence, but that's about it. That's not really like, it's like, you know, a violent comedy film. All right. Well, if Parasite was just
Parasite was like a mystery too.
Right. Parasite is, let's just go through all the genres that Parasite fucking touches on. It's a straight out comedy. Okay? It's a family drama, like I said, obviously. It's got tons of elements of spy movies in it. As this family infiltrates this other family, you get to see all the little skullduggeries and things that they do to assume other identities and help feed each other information and shit. It's a horror film. It's a psychological thriller. What else? It's an action film. I mean, I don't...
Rags to riches?
Yeah, like a rags to riches kind of but that's not really a genre of film. That's more of just a. But it's just all over the place. I mean, the only thing it didn't do was sci-fi. You know, the only main genre of popular film, in my opinion, that it didn't touch on in some way is science fiction. The movie was crazy. It actually does touch on sci-fi.
Yeah.
With the dude that's fucking communicating through the fucking...
Yeah.
He's fucking trying to send shit out into the... God damn it. See? That's why it won. It was like a celebration of film in film form. Pretty crazy. Pretty unique. Omni-genre, yeah. I will tell you that going to see Joker was an interesting experience because of the moral panic that was going on about it at the time when it came out.
Yeah, I went to it with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You remember we got into the fucking parking lot and there were cop cars everywhere. It was like there were 10 cop cars in the parking lot, taking up parking spots for fucking people that actually wanted to see the movie. So we had to park way off in the back behind the theater and shit. Got in there and there was like 2 cops just like sitting on stools eyeballing everybody. I don't know what they were doing, what their fucking presence there was supposed to avail, but they were just like sitting on stools like eyeballing everybody that walked in. And when we walked in, we got an extra eyeball because of course it's me, TJ, Scotty, a bunch of, you know, all our girlfriends and wives.
I don't think Scotty went to that one.
Did he not?
I don't think he did.
Was it Stevie that came?
Yeah, it was Stevie.
Oh, okay.
I remember it was just you and TJ that did the video after.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that is right. So it was Stevie then. I remember there was at least one other person. So it was me and TJ, you and Chelsea, and Stevie. What did they think was going to happen? I don't know. I wrote about it in my fucking review of Joker. It's like that, their presence there, while it was totally unwelcome in my eyes, added to the atmosphere of the film. It made the film... For the first time since I watched the Blair Witch Project, I felt like I was walking into a film experience rather than just going to see a movie. Because the world outside the movie was going insane about the movie. Mm-hmm. And in this case, it was all this authoritarian moral panic about like, oh, if people see this, it was like I teleported back to the 80s. If kids see this movie, they're going to kill cops. They're going to fucking go crazy and kill authority figures. And it's like,
what about all the other fucking horror movies where they kill random civilians? Are those all promoting murder too?
That's what I'm saying. It's just, but this movie, because it was so aimed. You remember I've talked about how Derek Jensen says that violence doesn't go up the pyramid and only flows down, right? This movie was about sending violence up the pyramid very explicitly. It wasn't just an action flick where the terrorists and the good guys go at it. It wasn't, just a horror movie where there's a killer that stalks everybody around. It was a movie about somebody from the very bottom rungs of society exporting violence up the chain. That the first thing that Arthur Fleck does that sets off the revolution is beat up a bunch of entitled Wall Street guys. Guys that have social status that's so far and above his, it's not even imaginable in the real world. And he sees them perpetrating something on the train, and he breaks it up, and he kills them all. And that's the first instance of many in the movie where violence is pushed up the hierarchy, culminating in the murder of Bruce Wayne. Or, not Bruce Wayne, Bruce Wayne's dad. What's his name? Anyway, I can't remember what Bruce Wayne's dad's first name is, but you get it. So it's a total movie about people from nothing rising up to kill, yeah, Thomas and Martha Wayne, right? So it's a movie about somebody from the absolute bottom rung of society, somebody just barely holding on, not just economically, but mentally. He's been forgotten by the system. He goes to this person who doesn't even give a fuck about him, and that's his mental health care. He's pissed on by everybody in society because he has to work a humiliating job. And he's taking care of his ill mother at home and barely making enough money plus government assistance to get by on. He's got nothing. He's desperate. Desperate and mentally ill. So he is the absolute fucking razor's edge of the bottom. He's just above homeless, right? And the whole movie is about an escalating pattern of violence where people from his state, like not his state, his position, start to take out their frustrations on people that are above them. Yep, that's why there were cops at the theater, because it was a movie about people exporting violence up the fucking food chain instead of accepting it as it comes down. So the cops wanted to remind us that life. Well, what the fuck happened there? Whoa. I don't know what that was. I think I accidentally was trying to swipe up and went boop. But we back. But anyway, I think that the cops were present at that film because they were afraid that people were going to watch that movie, which is absurd. But typically movies don't portray that. Cops in movies, if they're killed at all, it's as cannon fodder, right? They were there to try and stop the guy and a cop dies and then that's a big arc in the movie or whatever the fuck. Cops are not used to being portrayed as we're part of the oppressive system. And in Joker they are. So here they are. They're they're sitting outside the theater. They've got all their cars parked and lining the front of the theater just to let everybody know that walks in there that this ain't no movie, boy. You can go in there and watch your little fantasy movie about some crazy guy killing a bunch of cops, but I tell you what, you come back out of this theater, you better throw your popcorn in the trash. Because out here, this ain't no movie. That's what it was. That's why they were there. And it's just fuck. Get the fuck out of here. Out of touch, Paul. I'm not out of touch enough to fucking touch you and fucking hide you forever. See ya. You don't go inside Dirty D. You don't gotta go pouty.
No.
All right. You're out of touch. I'm out of time. I go out of my head when you're not around. That totally makes sense now that you say it out loud. I mean, what other reason was there for them to be there? None. But I don't know. It was a cool flick. I don't know that it'll work as a sequel kind of film. I don't know if it was even meant to be that. I don't know if it was meant to be a something that eventually gets fucking made into a Joker 2 or whatever the fuck, but get out of here, boogers. Get out of there, boogers. Sorry, didn't want to fire a snot rocket at any of you guys. Lava Flim Jim. Did Paul just do a line of coke? You people are so fucking dumb, dude. Every time I blow my nose, did Paul just do a line of coke? Says the 16-year-old kid who's never seen somebody do a line of coke before. Get thee banned. See ya. Joker 2, The Reckoning. It's always an R. Yep. Yeah, dude. Did Paul just do coke? I did do a line of Pepsi. Shut up, Viga. Don't tell everybody the truth. Hey, the lag unhide thing happened to me. Sweet. Joker 2 will be hard to pull off, but if it works, it could be great. Who knows? And what do you think this is? The Ritz? The Ritz-Carlton? You are cool, Paul. No, I'm not, bro. I've heard they plan to make a bunch of spin-offs in the Joker universe if the sequel is successful. Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see, won't we? Oh, Brewster, you're so cool. Shut up, evil. Don't call me evil. Parasite, the Korean flick. Dude, are you behind? Ooh, nice toot. Real nice toot. I like those late night toots. Everything seems to echo a little farther at night when everything's quieter. Late night toots. The engine of Economos announcing its arrival. Is that true that sound travels further through the night because no sun rays? Is that true? Or is that just, did you just bullshit me? Sorry, Paul. I didn't expect you would hear that all the way in Cali. No worries, dude. the sound thing is BS. Yeah, I figured. I would imagine, yes, less ambient noise. Always wonder why the train gets louder at the end. Maybe there's another engine back there pushing sometimes. But that was a loud motherfucker. That was a long train too. So that was just a giant fucking pump of the heart of Economos there. Just walked by. Tons of goods on that train. Smoothest liquor. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Tequila. What are you even talking about? Best edibles? Yeah, dude, the ones that you eat and get you high. My roommate tried Tesla tequila today for like $200. There you go. Tequila's good shit. I haven't had hard liquor. I'm trying to think. When was the last time I had something with liquor in it? Oh, okay. When we went to the beach, I got a drink. I got a drink, something called like a salty sailor or some shit. That's why I ordered it. I ordered a drink from the menu called a salty sailor. And it had rum or some shit in it. So I guess rum is pretty good too. But I like tequila. Tequila. Cheeseburgers are a good edible substance. I agree. Whiskey is good as long as you're not drinking the cheap stuff. Yeah. True dat. True dat. Ever get hangovers? When I was like a heavy binge drinker, I used to get hangovers. Yeah, a hangover is basically just dehydration. Alcohol dehydrates you, and people have a natural proclivity to get real drunk and then go pass out somewhere and not drink any water. And then what happens is overnight the alcohol works its way through your system, dehydrates the fuck out of you. And you wake up with a horrible fucking headache because you're dehydrated as fuck and you're sick. But 99% of those symptoms could be mitigated if you just fucking have a big giant glass of water like this before you go to bed. Pretty simple stuff. Gatorade rehydrates you faster. I think water does a good job. Gives you some extra electrolytes or whatever, but I think water is fine. You don't need to get Gatorade and shit. You don't need to be fancy. Water will do the trick, trust me. Electrolytes are what plants crave. Oh. Yeah, there's this 0 calorie, 0 sugar stuff that I drink too. It comes out of my tap in my kitchen, actually. It's pretty fucking deluxe. It's called water. And it like really fucking gets me hydrated, you know what I mean? For some reason, it's like flavorless, odorless, all that stuff, but like, I don't know what it is about this shit. It's nuts. It's free. Yeah. Well, it's free. Relatively free. Let's put it that way. It's free if you can pay for it, yeah. As long as you pay your bills, it's free. Never reached the passing out stage. Only the puke and headache stage. Okay, good for you. Good for you, buddy. You must live a crazy life, bro. You're out there drinking and you throw up and stuff, dude. Fuck, bro. I'd brag about it too. I'd stick on that topic too, bro. You drink and then you get drunk and stuff. Whoa. We got a rebel amongst us, y'all. Yeah, he like drinks. We got a badass over here, y'all. He throws up too, yeah. Pukes. Whatever, I can't shit. I did a lot of binge drinking in my 20s, so you do you, kid. Let me ask you guys a question. Let me throw it to you, chat. Let's have a little conversation switch here. I'm 41. 41. I was born in 1980. Okay? A lot of the people that watch me are in their 20s, right? 20s. 22 to 28. How do I talk about lived experience and the value of that without seeming like I'm preaching to you like some old man or some shit? Because I'm not trying to portray myself like I know more than you inherently. You're 18, right? So we got a broad spectrum. So as a 41-year-old dude who's lived a lot of life, had a lot of experiences that I think could impart, not wisdom, but at least some kind of fucking insight into the current problems that we face and shit. I don't know, man. It's a hard line to walk because there are a lot of old fucks who've spent their whole lives being full of shit, right? Well, I try to. You said like make your experience coincide with fact. I really try to. I try and give examples, anecdotal as they may be, of how, you know, my childhood and then how it correlates with the numbers. Best way to do it is through stories. Let the experience speak for themselves. Try to remove your own status from it. Yeah. I don't know really. I don't really know too. I just respect lived experience. Try to understand it until I have an epiphany moment. Honestly, not possible. Some people will listen to you, but for the most part, some experiences can't be understood until you've had them. Understood that too. Speak about it in detail. Speaking in general terms will seem vague. Like we can do this and that back then, for example, as a vague. Right. Understood. I'm not trying to be like a wise old sage. I'm middle aged, you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm not trying to present myself as some old fucking wizened sage sitting on the mountain, but I've had a lot of experiences in my life. I've seen a lot of change in my life. I've seen America change and the world change over my lifetime in some very significant ways. And I talk about those things with you guys. And I feel like that living that many years and seeing that many political cycles and seeing that change that I've talked about gives me some idea of the trajectory that we're on, right? I know how it kind of goes because of that. And I think that maybe sticks in young people's craw because it's like me saying like, you can't be any different than we were. But it's just like, what I'm desperately trying to tell you is please be different than we were. I'm like, that's at the core of my shit, right? It's like, don't just keep fucking throwing your money and your support and your activism down the toilet of the DNC. Don't be like I was. Don't be like my generation was and the generation before it was. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to impart with the shit. Use a lot of slang. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll do that. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right about the tone, Ashton. I don't know. Well, I mean, I try and keep things in the here and now, but I also don't think that I can fucking extricate my experience from the way that I feel. Like people want to know, like I get asked all the time to expound on like why no confidence, why no DNC support, why don't you vote, or why did you go a long time and not vote, and why do you not vote for fucking DNC candidates now? And in order for me to explain why, I got to explain how experientially how I got there. I got to explain what I was doing when I was 20, right? Which is voting for fucking Democratic candidates. I mean, it's apparent to me that the stuff that I've watched happen politically and geopolitically and environmentally over the course of my life is relevant to the conversation. It's just not immediately clear to me how I can inject that without seeming like I'm fucking trying to wag my finger at young people, because that's not my intent. Like I'm actually trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to wag my finger at my own generation and point out to you how you could be different than us, how you could pursue something different, not you need to be like we were. Like you've never heard that out of me. You know what I mean? I have waxed nostalgic about my childhood, but who doesn't do that? when my dad does the listen here, I've got experience thing, his tone really makes a difference whether I listen to him or not. Same with most older folk. Yeah. It's definitely something to consider, right? I definitely, I'm not a person that's going to pull punches, but by the same token, I don't want to chase young people out of my, you know, ideology before they ever dip their toe in it either. Just one of those things. This post-nasal drip is killing me, bro. Can I be the first one to say that this post-nasal drip is driving me fucking insane? Anybody else suffer with the post-nasal drip? God damn. Oh man, I've had it for years and years and years. And it's just like, as a dude that talks a lot, it's so fucking annoying because it just necessitates me constantly going like, let me clear the phlegm off my fucking vocal cords as it drizzles down onto them from my nose. Never heard that term before. Post-nasal drip means like your fucking sinuses back here that eventually drain back down into your throat are constantly, because of your histamine response to something that you're allergic to in the air, it's constantly dripping fucking phlegm down the back of your throat. It's not good. It's not a good look. Doesn't feel good. Yep, sniffles, yep. If more young people voted, though, wouldn't Bernie have won the DNC primary? No. The youth vote thing doesn't show up. That's part of the problem with the system, is that the youth vote is this mythical thing. TJ and I were talking about it, I think, on a grease trap the other day, where we weren't arguing or anything. We were just discussing politics. And he was talking about like, yep, this last voting cycle is the last time I'm finally over this youth vote thing. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. I've been over it for about a decade, maybe more. You know what I mean? The youth vote just doesn't come. It doesn't show. And who can blame it? If they showed up, I don't even think that if they showed up, that they would necessarily be able to get a candidate like Bernie through. Nope. Yep. Nope and yep. Do you think the system can be fixed from within? Nope. Do you think that fixing from without would mean some form of revolution? Yup. I mean, to expound on that, the DNC has my entire lifetime. So here are the people that I've voted for in my life. I voted for, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what years the votes happened in, and I've got to trace it back in my head, and I'm horrible with math. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't old enough to vote for Bill Clinton. Was Bill Clinton's second term in 96? I would have been 16. It is so fucking hard to remember all these politicians that didn't win. Yeah, I voted for Al Gore in 2000. I actually canvassed for Gore. Or, yeah. I canvassed for Gore, and I canvassed briefly for Howard Dean. John Kerry, which was like eating a fucking bullet, but I voted for him. John Kerry is just a fucking nightmare of a politician. I mean, go look at, he's still out there, so you can go look at him. What is your opinion of Gore at the time compared to now? I don't know. I liked Al Gore. He had a pretty early environmentalist message, and I really hated George Bush. I mean, he was a moron. Like on the campaign trail, he was already known for his Bushisms and shit. And I just felt like, all right, well, he's a doofus. You know, keep in mind, I was young with this shit. So, you know, I just remember thinking, like, he's a fucking doofus. Like, what's the fucking point? So Al Gore, I remember I supported because, well, you know, he was the lib. Voted for Barack Obama after John Kerry. Dated Dean, married Kerry. I remember that was the poison pill I had to swallow that year. Think about that shit, right? So obviously, like I told you, I canvassed not as extensively as I did for Gore, but in a limited way for Howard Dean. Registered some of my friends to vote. Worked for a company that was out there like to register people to vote. How did you think Gore would have handled 9/11? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I remember when the Daily Show was good, yeah. How do you think Gore would have handled... Oh, yeah, I already read that, yeah. I have no fucking clue. I can't look back in time. Voted for Barack Obama's first term, and after he shot the bed, that's the last time I voted. Howard Dean's scream was nothing back then, too. It was what has come to be known as a swift boating. There was a DNC slogan, dated Dean, married Kerry. And that was like basically their way of trying to reconcile the people on the left that actually liked Howard Dean and his strong pro-labor message over John Kerry's centrist, corporatist, neo-lib message. And so when Howard Dean's candidacy was scuttled because he made a fucking outburst and the media and the DNC all colluded into kind of pushing this narrative that he was unstable, which is ridiculous. You know, the poison pill was fed to us with that slogan, dated Dean, married Kerry. I remember John, what's his name from the fucking Daily Show? John, I can only remember his first name. I'm brain farting. Jon Stewart, thank you. Yeah, I remember Jon Stewart saying, dated Dean, married Carrie, finger banged Kucinich. Dennis Kucinich was a candidate that year. So, yeah, I've watched the neo-lib candidate win pretty much every time over anybody that has a message outside of that neo-lib Overton window. And I'm watching it happen again with this fucking Joe Biden shit. It's gross. And if anything, like I said, my message is take a look at the people that the DNC have put forward in the last 20, 30 years. And take a look at the poison pill that the American people have been asked to swallow over and over and over again in the form of these status quo supporting, warmongering leftist politicians. Well, not leftist, liberal. Seeing liberal family members actually go for Biden and Buttigieg was just shocking to my system. Fuck's sakes, dude. I know. What do you argue people can do? Pick up that book that I keep fucking trying to force down your guys' throat. Pick up Death at the Haymarket and read about the first labor movement in America and get an idea of the tactics that need to be used. We're talking about mass demonstrations, mass shutdowns of industrial districts all over the country, mass fucking marches on Washington and Wall Street. We need mass protest, civil disobedience, and we need it now. And there needs to be a labor message behind it. There needs to be a $15 minimum wage, collective bargaining, unionization, no union busting kind of message behind this movement. That's what we need. I'm not calling for violence at all. I don't think violence is smart, but this material condition shit, they're here. So it's like we're seeing people slowly but surely walk out of these jobs. Right? True. We've got to break this cycle of everything happens in a month. The news media, the like 24/7 news cycle has convinced us that things only take about a week to happen. And we only have to care about a thing for a day or two or a week or two or maybe even a month or two at times if it's really fucking juicy. And it's just like, if you look at the history of protest, you look at the history of the fight for the 8-hour workday, it lasted years. It lasted from the end of the Civil War all the way through the fucking beginning of the 20th century. So it's not something like you cannot, it's a fight. You have to be willing to fucking dig your heels in, because a lot of the fucking conditions that were present at the time of the first labor movement in the United States are present now. A mass influx of immigrants, right? Robber barons consolidating ever more of the economy under their banner and dictating labor. None of this would happen as a part of a movement, though it'll incrementally occur as more octogenarian politicians die off and get replaced by younger ones. Thinking that younger politicians are going to save you is folly. If you want proof that's not from my past, Take a look at the Squad. The Squad are a group of people who are called the Squad because they're supposed to vote as a voting bloc, and they used their power as the Squad for the first time last week to increase police funding. And that's the only time they've used it. Didn't use it to force a vote on a minimum wage, didn't use it to force a vote on fucking healthcare, didn't use it to force a fucking vote on fucking student debt cancellation. These are all young politicians. So why aren't they doing what you say that they're not octogenarians? So why are they acting like octogenarians? See what I mean? This idea that like change is going to magically spring up from within by believing in these politicians and the process. Guys, that's not how you got an 8-hour workday. That's not how you got a 40-hour work week. It didn't happen by electing fucking young, vibrant politicians. It happened because people fucking took charge and started bargaining for their own labor and died in the streets sometimes for it. And in my mind, we got this tiny little window here because automation is like this looming death knell for our power as people to have any kind of bargaining over our labor. So there's still tons of these jobs that people are working in this country that we can fucking do it now. But if we wait for fucking 20 years, a lot of those lower end jobs are going to be automated away. And what then? What's the plan for those people who are now working 2 jobs at 2 fast food places or working a job at the mall part-time and then a job at a factory full-time or some shit to make their bills? Like, what for them when their job is automated away? Where are they going to go? There's no plan for this. This is why it has to happen now. I agree, Nodnarb. You saw how the sausage was made with the fucking kind of broad leftist support that a lot of these Squad members rushed into with. And then the kind of disappointing fucking do-nothing status quo nature that they almost immediately adopted. I mean, like everybody that goes like, man, that's fucking ridiculous. It'll never work. Well, it's not. Like the chances of something like I'm talking about working are not going to get better with time. And if you've got a better idea, I'm willing to listen to it. But the world is fucking circling the drain, literally and figuratively. I don't need to fucking give you the litany of fucking existential crises that we face as a species. The looming fucking debt bubble popping, the looming fucking climate crisis. Well, it's not even looming anymore, it's here. But the, fucking accelerating, exponentially worse climate disasters, the mass migration of people coming. Nobody's talking about this. None of these politicians are talking about this. This is going to be a fucking labor crisis. It's going to be a housing crisis. It's going to be a migration crisis. It's going to be a fucking moral crisis in this country. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's prepping for it. We got to do it now. Like yesterday, like 7 years ago, like 20 years ago is when this should have happened. But like, look, you want to talk about fucking our chances? They're no better tomorrow than they are today. And they're definitely no better 10 years from now than they are now. Or 20 years down the fucking line. I'm not saying everybody just fucking magically does it now, but we need to start talking about this as leftists. And I want to get young leftists on board with this shit because funneling you guys into the fucking DNC would be the worst thing I could do in my mind. Because I've just seen it. It took my passion and funneled it into corporatism. It's happened to me over and over. When I was your age, I did the same shit you were doing. I voted for the corporate candidate for the same reasons. You think I liked John Kerry as a politician? I hated his fucking guts. I thought he sucked. But I went and voted for him anyway. Harm reduction. So, you know, I don't know if that comes off as preachy or whatever. I'm not, but I'm telling you, man, Joe Biden is a fucking politician from my childhood. The motherfucking vampire was around when I was a kid. I remember him, watching him on C-SPAN. I voted for him for fucking vice president. Like, this motherfucker has been there. It's a known quantity. I remember how fucking utterly devastated a lot of us were that fucking Obama picked Joe Biden as his running mate. Because we knew this shit about him back then. It's not like it just came to light that Joe Biden was a fucking segregationist or a dude that loved austerity or an anti-immigrant fucking centrist corporatist Democrat. It was known. Yeah, they picked him to get the racist white libs. Racial jungle Biden. Yeah, I don't want my kids living in a racial jungle called black people super predators. Said that, like, he didn't really care about helping to reform black people. He cared about enforcing the law. He cared about making sure that your family didn't get shot in the street. All this shit came out of his fucking mouth. Like, I didn't put those words in his mouth. He said them. Austerity loving, has tried to fucking go after Social Security with every breath of his fucking political career. Never met a fucking try to fucking defund social programs that he didn't like. Welfare to work guy. That's another thing a lot of Biden people don't fucking talk about. His support of welfare to work programs. He's just he's a fucking Republican, y'all. He's a Republican. I don't know what to tell you. And voting for that and putting all your hopes into these young politicians that go into the Senate and then just get churned like butter into the fucking corporatist cream. Like, it's not gonna work. We don't have time. So, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, dude, if you don't vote for the Republican, you might get a Republican. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's kind of true. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, bro. Whatever. We talk about this too much, don't we? There's other things to talk about, like flowers and sunshine and puppy dogs and little old ladies in their sewing circles and Oh, golf. Fortnite. No, I did not get that DJ's info yet. I figured like I'd give them a recovery day from the party. Oh, what the fuck is your shirt of? What? Who? This? This is a blobfish burrito. Right here. It's a blobfish and a burrito with some delicious herbs. Amazing. Amazing. Uh-oh. Sorry. Oh, boy. I got you with that yawn. Yeah, and then the dogs are going nuts too. I don't know. I'm gonna go to bed or go inside at the very least. I'll see you guys later. Bye.